100 rated chess. But you are the cops. If a piece, or pawn, commits violence, it must be captured before the game ends. Ha! Barely an inconvenience. We get a 144 from Spain. And for some reasons he actually has this VIP award from chess.com. E4. The only way I can physically fail this challenge is when some crazy capture sequence happens and then I end up misremember which pieces performed the captures. But as the matter of fact, I am an Asian, there is physically no way my Asian brain fails to memorize such a limited amount of information. G6. D4. Full center baby. Knight F6. The utmost famous Norwegian defense. Maybe this guy is actually Magnus Carlsen in disguise. E5. Knight D5. C4. Knight B4. A3. Knight C6. Aha! That blunders a knight to D5, knight E5, F4 and the horse is trapped. But I figured that there is a chance he may want to play bishop G7, after Fe5 bishop E5. I will be forced to capture his bishop before the game ends, and with his bishop safely
fianchetto
between the pawns, it will be extremely difficult to make such a capture, which may even lead to some other pieces recapture and then the problem will continue to get worse. So I guess knight F3 instead. No need to rush. It's not like he was gonna resign after losing a knight anyway. A5. D5. Knight A7. C5. Domain expansion. Bishop G7. Bishop C4. D6. E6. This way after he takes, I can immediately recapture. So my brain doesn't have to remember anything, which means there won't be any mistakes that can happen. B5. Aha! I actually cannot give this check, because after king takes F7 makes his king a wanted target. I cannot physically capture his king according to the global chess rules, which means the challenge is failed. So I guess en passant instead. C takes B6. Alright, now that pawn must die before I can finish the game, but of course there is no need to rush. Knight G5 first. I'll prioritize removing his castling right first, at least while he still hasn't castled yet. F takes E6. That is the second thing needs to die for the challenge, but unlike last time, I can do it right now. B5. Bishop D5. Knight BC6. Now bishop C6, knight C6, queen F3 is definitely the best continuation, but human-wise, I don't really like the idea of reactivating his knight on A7, not to mention I will then have two wanted targets to chase with a more limited amount of materials. And of course I also don't want to give this fork which gets his queen out to defend the wanted target. So I guess just go queen F3 then. Knight E5 is really strong here, but very counterintuitive, as he was using that knight to block my bishop in the first place. A4. Aha! That blunders a king, but unfortunately, the wanted target is still alive. Knight C3 then. Bishop E5. Blundered the king again. And you know what? I'll just put down a number right here to count how many times would that king become a sacrifice in this game. I'll eliminate the target. I'm not losing this knight here, because not only his knight is defending the other knight, knight takes b5 actually also blunders another checkmate in 11 after bishop takes c6 check. So even if he doesn't see queen f7 checkmate in 1, of course he can see such an easier textbook checkmate in 11. Right? Of course he sees everything. That move actually avoids both the checkmate in 1 and the checkmate in 11. Absolutely amazing. Knight back to c3. Let me guess. Bishop takes, queen takes, blunder the king again, but I still cannot do it because the queen becomes a wanted target. Of course he doesn't fall for it. Now I can finally simplify. Knight takes c6. Queen takes c6 check. King f8. Queen f3 check. I still can't find any checkmates though. King g7. Queen f7 check. King h6 is forced. Knight takes h7 discover check. King h5. Aha! I think I have actually found an absolutely beautiful and probably the most brilliant move of this entire game. Pawn to g4 check. Now king takes g4 ends the video because I cannot capture his king due to the global chess rules, but I mean he should be able to see that king takes g4 is actually blundering h3 king h5 queen f3 king h4 bishop g5, a very textbook and easy to see checkmate in 4. Right?